So folks, today we are having the third and the final session of the career strategy series, and I hope you have been able to attend the live session or the recording of the previous two sessions. So this was in view of the changing situation happening all around the world, not only because of the COVID virus, COVID-19, but the consequential economic meltdown which is happening. So hopefully we will be able to control the virus in few months, I hope. But economic meltdown is really going to last for several years now. And from a career point of view, from a jobs point of view, it's very important that we understand where we are and what can we do about it. So just to give you a quick recap, what we did so far. So in the first session, we tried to understand the macro level trends, what is happening in the business environment and from a work point of view. So there are some established trends like remote working is very well established. Layoffs are happening, still happening. New ways of working are being emerged. So we've covered that in the first session just to understand a background of the current situation. In the second session, we covered mainly the future of jobs report from World Economic Forum. So it was not in the plan, but suddenly we noticed between the first session and the second session that there is a report available. And that report was very useful because this is the first authentic from a credible source about the statistics and the numbers which are available after 10 months of the COVID virus spread around the world. And the report also predicted or projected a lot of numbers for the future. So a span of the report is between 2020 and 2025. So 5 years period. And we have shared a lot in the last second session what has happened and what will happen. Today's session is the most important one because in this session, we are going to narrow down on the career strategy that based on this situation, what you could do and what you should do. So we'll talk about career options, getting ready for the toughest job market. Now, by the way, I think you realize that this crisis or this economic meltdown is much larger than 2008, 2009 economic crisis, if you have experienced that. It's somewhere comparable with the 1929 Great Depression, or maybe more than that. We don't know. But looks like that we need to really prepare with a fresh mindset, assuming and accepting that this is going to be probably the most impactful crisis in our lifetimes. So we'll talk about job search strategy. And very importantly, I will try to cover as much as possible how to tap the hidden job market because that's a new phenomena. And I have developed a new framework of blue ocean approach, which I'll explain to you. And finally, what should be your career roadmap going forward? So that's what we are going to cover today. I hope that would be useful for all of you. So this is the most important slide from the future of job reports from World Economic Forum. We shared that last time. So according to this report, 85 million jobs are going to be lost between 2020 and 2025, and 97 million jobs will be created. So on the surface, it looks a positive picture that we are going to create more jobs than we are going to lose jobs, right? Unfortunately, there are two important factors to understand. If you look at the list of the top 10 declining roles and top 10 emerging roles or growing roles, their nature of jobs is very, very different, very, very different. And it feels that as if the people who would lose jobs, they will gain new jobs. But new jobs, if you look at the list of the growing jobs demand, is very technically oriented, related to the new technologies. And the old jobs or declining jobs are basically traditional jobs. That's one factor, that the skill set may not be matchable in the short term. Number two, according to the report, it is also mentioned that the rate of job destruction currently is higher or faster than the rate of job creation, which means there would be a huge gap. It's already happening, that we are losing jobs faster than we are creating jobs. So these two factors really is going to make the transition much more challenging and difficult for most of the people. This is a little detailed description of the list of the jobs being lost and being created. So the previous one was top 10, this is top 20. So you could look in the top 20 roles and categories, what are the type of jobs which are we are losing and what are the type of jobs we are creating. So look at the number 3, accounting, bookkeeping, and payroll clerks. So that's a junior level position. But next is accountants and auditors. That's a big one. And that's really concerning because that includes almost the whole profession of accounting. Then there is another new category added. Number 11 is financial analyst. And we don't know what is really scope of financial analyst here. If it is the financial analyst in a broader sense, then whole FP&A function is at risk, but we don't know. Then if you look at the number 18, that's not finance, but human resources specialist. And number 19, training and development specialist. So these are the categories which were not there before, and now they are in this category. Imagine that people who are losing jobs from these 20 job category listed here, how would they develop themselves? How would they acquire the new skills to work in the technology position? It's very difficult to see. And that is mainly the message about the job disruption is that job disruption, which means that people will lose jobs. They may prepare for a new job, but it will take a long time, and it will take a lot of effort and struggle at their end. So this is the big picture scenario where we are today. Now, report also suggested or anticipated that a huge skill or reskilling is required. So according to the report, 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025. 50%, half of the workforce will have to renew their skills level. That's a big number. Then they said 40% of the current workers' core skills, 40%, are expected to change. So either you have to reskill or your core skills would change. Change means that if core skills change, you don't have a job. This make it mandatory for every professional, every worker to jump start with their reskilling and upskilling training. Don't wait for anything else. This is the most important, most urgent thing you can do to start jumping, reskilling and upskilling your skill set. Now I'll try to explain what type of skill you need to get into, but this direction is very clear that as fast as you could, that should be the first priority. So look at the nature of these top 10 skills which are in demand. I try to segregate into the categories. So 5 skills are related to problem solving. 2 skills are related to self-management. 1 skill related to leadership or working with people, and only 2 skills are related to technology. Now, of course, the people who are more closer to the technology job, they would learn it. But for rest of us, if you look at this list, like complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, reasoning, they all look familiar. They all look as if we know them, right? There is big emphasis on the resilience, self-tolerance, and flexibility. So it feels that we have been doing some level of these skills already, right? That's a trap because you feel that you know problem solving, you know critical thinking, and you can handle it. It actually requires a lot more than that. And I think in the last session, I've explained quite in some detail what does it mean by these skills. If you look at the top 15, so that slide was only top 10 skills. Top 15, the trend continues. So look at the 11, emotional intelligence, troubleshooting, service orientation, system analysis, and persuasion and negotiation. So again, 4 out of 5 skills are the soft skills or the leadership skills. So there is a lot of emphasis on these leadership skills. And how shall we use these leadership skills? This is what I explained last time. That it's not about one skill or set of skill in isolation. In practical environment, and all of you are senior level professionals, so you understand that it's a combination of hard skills and soft skills. You need to have some very solid knowledge of business or technology. So technology and business skills, business knowledge is the hard skills. You take two of them and you combine with your leadership skills, which is emotional intelligence, problem solving, critical thinking, etc., etc. And once you have three ingredients of these three type of skills, then you are able to really offer solutions and solve problems of the business. This slide, as I mentioned earlier, this is the curriculum from the Strategic CFO Program 2021. This is what we have been experiencing and learning for the last 3, 4, 5 years. And that is working very well, because you, even if you go to advanced level of problem solving, critical thinking course, what will you do afterwards? Because you have to relate. The business problems are not in isolation. You have to relate the business problems with the strategy and with the technology. So solving domestic problems at home is one thing, but solving customer problem at the business is another thing. Understanding the behavior of the family member is one thing. Understanding the behavior of your CEO and the boss is another thing. So we need a very high level of skills. And these skills you cannot use in isolation. You have to combine with your in-depth knowledge of strategy and in-depth knowledge of strategy. That's why you see this model we have created is a perfect solution for senior level jobs, senior level roles. It says strategic CFO, but actually this is applicable to all C-level roles. There is not much about finance here. It's all leadership and strategy and technology, of course. So keep in mind that skills are not in isolation. Skills are in combination of the other hard skills in the business environment. That's what you need to learn. Okay, more on skills. So I have been using these skills pyramid in my another skills of future program. So we are running two other programs. One is the communication skills for future program, which is going very successful with, I think, 64 participants currently. We had a session earlier, maybe some of you attended also that this morning. So communication skills is one, but in order to enhance, so what you see on the left side is foundational skills. So emotional intelligence, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, innovation. These are foundational basic skills which you need to really work and perform in the business environment. If you move up in this pyramid, the next group is enhancing skills, which is cultural awareness, cognitive flexibility, adaptability, which means that if you have cultural awareness, of course, you could do a better job at the work. Then we have the external skills, which are required and needed for dealing with other people. So storytelling, negotiation, collaboration, service orientation. That's what you use when you interact with other people, right? On the right side, survival skills, your personal brand, your relationship, and your communication. These skills you need anyway to survive. You cannot survive one day in the business without these three basic skills, right? What happens that everybody who work in the corporate environment has some level of these three skills. They definitely have some level of branding. They have some level of relationship. They are able to communicate to some level, right? When you combine these survival skills with the foundational skills, enhancing skills, and external skills, you basically enhance your overall ability to communicate and work in a business environment. So these three skills on the left side enhances your ability with the survival skills. That's very important. So, or if you go up in the hierarchy and see that what are the people doing at the senior level, CEO, CMO, CFO, COO, all these people are not really running their job based on their technical skills, but leadership skills. These are the skills. Actually, these are the skills which really make them at that level where they are today. So whatever your ambition is going forward, this is key, because going forward, businesses are not going to keep as many people as they used to. Businesses want few people, but with high level of skills and talent, for which they are going to pay a very good price. So there would be fewer people in the business with a very high salary, but they would be highly talented. And when I say highly talented, it's really categorized their leadership capabilities, their strategic understanding, and the technology understanding and awareness, because technology is going to be the key. As we are moving forward into the future in 2021, job disruption and career disruption will happen more and more. Job disruption, by definition, is when someone loses a job and it takes them 6 months, for example, to get back on the job. That's a job disruption. Career disruption is when you lose a job and you are not able to find any job in your field. If you are in finance or you're a controller, you lose a job and you're not able to find any controller or finance job, you have to find something else to make your living. That's a career disruption. And many people in the junior category is already happening. Like in the list of the jobs which are being declining, those jobs are not coming back. Those jobs just do not exist. They just do not exist. Warehouse clerks, cashiers, these people are in the career disruption because they have to change their profession. Many of the cashiers in the retail industry, they are, for example, driving Ubers or in the delivery business or something. That's going to happen with millions of people, right? Now, what you are seeing on your screen in terms of career transition, we are talking of the professional at your level, senior level, right? That's what the focus of discussion here is. Is it possible that rather than changing profession, you make a career transition? So look at this matrix, it's very important. There are two matrices, existing industry and new industry, existing role and new role. So let's assume that you are a controller in oil and gas industry, right? That's your current position. And you lose a job or you don't find any progress, so you're looking for new opportunity. Opportunities are that you could go for another controller role in the oil and gas, which would be very narrow. Probably there are no jobs available. Or you try to change your industry. You look for controller position in banking industry, for example. That's one option. Or you try to change your role from controller to becoming a data scientist and remain in the oil and gas industry. That's possible because you are familiar with the oil and gas. Of course, you need to learn data science. That's possible. Or you take a far stretch position and role. You try to become data scientist in banking industry, new role. Is it possible? All scenarios are possible because it will require some learning, some technical learning. Data scientists, you have to go through some formal training or you have to learn some new industry things, but it's possible. What really matters here that all in this role at this level, what matters is your leadership skills, is your knowledge of the business, strategy expertise, and overall understanding of the technologies. Because what you do in the role of controller and what you do in the role of data scientist is not exactly same, but you could learn very quickly. With your controllership background, a little bit technology orientation, you can learn data science very quickly and go to any industry or maybe in your own industry. So my point here is that if you try to remain in your role in your industry, you have a very narrow opportunities, narrow scale of opportunities. How many controllers are able to change jobs within the same oil and gas industry? If you expand it to other industry or other similar role, of course, from controller, you cannot become a mechanical engineer. That's not possible, but you can become definitely a data scientist, which is in high demand, right? So you're expanding your horizon by expanding your industry and expanding your role in the related field. And that is how you expand your possibility of remaining in good employment, actually better employment if you become a data scientist, right? But this does not go by traditional criteria. This requires your high level skills, which is leadership, which is soft skills, which is strategy knowledge, which is technology awareness. Let's take a broader picture from a career point of view. We all need money to make our living, to support our family, right? And this is a very famous or familiar matrix, which shows there are four ways to produce income, four ways. On the left side, most common, you have employees, which have a job. Most of us fall in this category. Or there are people who are self-employed, like tax consultant, CPA accountants. They are self-employed. This is on the left side. Most 95% of the population is occupied either as an employee or self-employed. On the right side, there are business owners who run their own business and investors who make investment. These people make a lot of money, but they are only 5% of the population. So 95% of the population create 5% of wealth, and 5% of the population create 95% of the wealth. Of course, if you have a choice, you would like to be a business owner or investor, right? If it is a choice. But after spending 10, 15, 20 years in the employment, it is very difficult or very challenging to become an investor or business owner. The best you could do is move from employed to self-employed. And that is what's going to happen with many, many of us. By willingness or by force, that's going to happen. In fact, the whole economy is switching from employees to self-employed, which is called gig economy. So that's a broader picture. We need to watch what is happening here. So your career path or your career options broadly with the current skill set is to continue as a corporate job if you're able to keep it, or if you're able to secure it, or become self-employed, or become an entrepreneur, business owner. These are the three choices. Of course, these are with different level of probability for success. So employee versus entrepreneur, briefly, it's, in my opinion, it's a matter of mindset. How do you see your work? How do you create income? It's all about the mindset. And the biggest challenge for employee to entrepreneur is the safety and security of a guaranteed income. Certainty and uncertainty. So as an employee, if you are living your life for 10, 15, 20 years, you have been accustomed to seeing a paycheck end of the month. That's security. That's certainty. When you become an entrepreneur, even if you are working harder than an employee, more than an employee, there is no guarantee of a paycheck. You really have to work hard, and only then you could expect that. So that's the main challenge. From employee to entrepreneur, from certainty to uncertainty is a very difficult journey. But successful entrepreneur really transition themselves from uncertainty to certainty, which means that they develop a confidence after a while that, look, in my business, something positive will happen. Let me keep working today, something will happen tomorrow positive. That is how they really make their living and maintain their uncertainty or certainty. So it's a choice available, but not for everyone, I would say. That is the reason that 95% small businesses fail. So let's talk about the domain where we are in the corporate. So as I said, that the job landscape is changing very fast. And it's not only about the full-time employees, but there is a lot of other categories. In this slide, let's start from the middle, center of the circle. So the green small icons, these are the permanent employees, core employees on site. Next layer, which is being expanded very quickly, is the remote employees. That's the second layer of employees. Permanent employee on the site, permanent or temporary employees remotely. Third layer, which you see in the yellow color, are the freelancing workers. These are the workers who are contract or temporary or ad hoc basis. That if there is work, they are employed. If there is no work, they are not employed. Then we have the traditional categories like consultants, and then external resources, agencies, supplies, vendors, etc., etc. So many of us, in fact, millions of us, are going to move willingly or unwillingly from this first category of core on-site employees to remote employees and to freelancers or to ad hoc or contract or temp employees. In fact, in the Future of Job reports, it was also mentioned that 32% of the employers are already moving their permanent employees to contingency roles. Contingency is the temporary or the contract roles. So we need to keep in our mind that these are the options available, and even if we don't want it, we may be forced into these roles. So gig economy, of course, was expanding before. It's also expanding now. Let's try to understand, at least at this point of time, even if you have a very secure and good employment, stable employment, just try to understand what is happening in the world. So when we say gig economy, there are basically two main categories. One is the manual workers, people who basically use their hands and feet to do the job. Delivery people, self-employed, electrician, plumber, handyman. That's one category of manual workers. They are self-employed. Second category of self-employed is knowledge workers like us, tax consultants, business consultants, and a lot of other people. These are business professionals. Gig economy is not in good condition or not in best condition today. Because of the COVID-19 or 2020 crisis, a lot of people have lost their jobs or lost their incomes. But what is happening? Mid-sized to large-sized companies are trying to change their business models from a fixed to variable. So in anticipation of continuing crisis, for example, if there is another financial crisis, then at least they don't get hurt, right? Businesses learn very quickly. Businesses learn very quickly because they have to survive, and not only survive, but survive profitably for their investor shareholders. So now with this 2008-2009 crisis, and then continuing crisis, small scale, mid scale, and then this big crisis, COVID-19, they want to create a business model which is flexible enough to absorb the future crises or shocks. So they are converting their business model from fixed to variable. And the biggest fixed cost for them is the cost of employment. So they're trying to make cost of employment variable. How? Making their employees contract basis. If there is work, you are employed. If there is no work, you are not employed. That becomes the variable model. At the same time, there is mushroom growth of servicing platforms. So I'm not sure if you are familiar, but there are freelancers.com, there is upwork.com, and there is a lot of other sites. These are the platforms which are created for professionals in any field to come and register themselves, and their services are offered. And then there are other small businesses or other users or people who require their services. They come at the same platform and they hire them on a temporary basis, of course. So that is how the gig economy on the professionals, business professional, is also helping them and expanding. Many people go into this gig economy as self-employed to pursue their dream of entrepreneurship. And many are and will be pursuing the self-employment role because they are tired of job search. As I said, it is expected that there would not be enough jobs to feed all the job seekers. So people will search for jobs, and depending upon the tolerance, after 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, they will surrender and start doing something on their own. It's a gloomy scenario, but I'm trying to give you a realistic picture so you could prepare yourself accordingly. This is the current statistics, a little old, that in the gig economy, self-employment, there are 60% who are the business professionals, white collar jobs or knowledge workers. 33% are the skilled manual or personal services like electrician, plumber, barbers, and 16% are the delivery people. These ratios are changing currently. There are more delivery people now, but this is a good indication what the gig economy comprises of. On the top of it, there's a good news and also a bad news. Good news is that life expectancy is increasing for all of us. No matter which country you live, life expectancy generally is increasing. So retiring, you have to have a plan, even if you get retired at 60, 65. And if you somehow lose job before 60 or around 50 or after 50, it even becomes very challenging and difficult to get back where you are if you are already around 50 or beyond 50. That's a new challenge. That on the one hand, there is a scarcity of jobs. There are not many jobs going to be available. Our life expectancy is increasing, and corporate is very reluctant to keep people in the upper age bracket. That's all challenging. So keep these things in your mind while you are planning for future. So let's take a step back, and instead of getting too much worried, let's take a bigger picture of life and see where you are today. So this triangle is basically a hierarchy of needs. Maslow's theory, if you are familiar with that, it starts from the bottom. Our basic needs like food, shelter, then security, safety needs, then social needs, then esteem, and ultimately self-actualization. Where you are, just make a rough assessment where you are. Are you the type of the person who are looking for 9 to 5 jobs just to make your end living? Or you are managing and looking forward for a career? Or you have a mission of life? So this is just options to setting up your mindset going forward. I would say that if you are on a higher side on this hierarchy, you are better off because you will have the internal capacity to absorb the shocks. If you are at the job level, you will look for another job. Even if it is not within your profession, you just need a job, you just need some money to make your ends. We talked about the blue ocean and red ocean. So blue ocean and red ocean is a business strategy concept. And I try to relate it with the job market. So I know that majority of the people, majority of the employees, whether they are affected or not, even if they are affected, they would remain in the job market because transition outside job, becoming self-employed or entrepreneur is not easy. So most people remaining in their comfort zone will try to pursue opportunities within the job market, and unfortunately, they will fall on the red ocean side. I will explain what red ocean, blue ocean is. So let me share with you for 5 minutes a real business scenario which will help you understand the red ocean and blue ocean. If you remember the life before iPhone, before Apple, iPhone was introduced in 2006, 2007. And before iPhone, the mobile phone market was overly crowded. Nokia, Ericsson, BlackBerry, you name it. All brands were there in a very crowded way. Nobody thought at that time that they need another mobile phone in the marketplace. That was pre 2007. And then iPhone came 2007 that and became a huge success. Huge success. Now it's a history. But how did iPhone was so successful in such a crowded market where nobody was able to think of another or mobile phone? This is called red ocean strategy and blue ocean strategy. So before iPhone, the mobile phone market was like a red ocean. It was crowded. There was so many brands in the existing market space. Everybody was competing with each other. Their success was dependent on beating the other brands. And there was given demand, and they were focused on snatching the demand from each other. That was red ocean. And in the red ocean, nobody thought that they need another brand or any new entrant. Blue ocean, this is what Apple did or iPhone did. Instead of contesting or entering into the red ocean, they try to create a blue ocean, a separate ocean for them, which is uncontested. They were not competing with much other brands directly. They made the competition irrelevant. Their customers even did not look at the competition because there were no comparable products available. They create and capture new demand. Even the people who were not using mobile phone, they got attracted into those devices. Young people, young kids, and older people. So what they did actually, Blue Ocean strategy has 4 actions or 4 steps to be done. If you want to get into a crowded market which is already saturated, think of the 4 actions or 4 ideas. In mobile phone market, Apple looked at the type of the phones available and they say, what factors the industry has long competed on should be eliminated, which means that there are things in the part of the mobile phone which customer do not really need it. That was eliminated. Then some features they reduced, some features they added, and some features they newly created. That was the smartphone. So a new smartphone market was created. Before iPhone, there was no smartphone, there were mobile phones. So Apple came into that market by creating a blue ocean strategy. What exactly they did, let me share with you. So remember BlackBerry, many of you? BlackBerry was successful and mainly successful in the corporate world because they thought that their mechanical keyboard is an essential requirement because corporate people do a lot of emails, and to write emails you need a keyboard, and they had a good keyboard, right? So they thought that that's their main success factor. Apple took a revolutionary step. They removed mechanical keyboard. They said, no, we could create a virtual keyboard. That was a big change from mobile phone to smartphone. Then they got rid of the stylus. There is a plastic pen to write it. Custom colors, they said it is not needed. So these things they eliminated. Further, they reduced the bells and whistles. Too many keys, too many buttons, too many options. They tried to make a very simple design. People were carrying multiple devices at that time. The separate phone, separate personal PDA. The main factor of their success was really revolutionary. They brought apps in the phone, apps and games. They created a sleek design, and they also made it to use internet. On top of it, they installed a very powerful camera, a very powerful processor, and a larger screen to play, touch screen, larger screen. So see, the point here is that when they entered the mobile phone market in 2006, 2007, they did not try to copy what was already available. They tried to bring something new. They got rid of something which was not needed. They brought something new which was appreciated. And then the whole industry completely changed. That's the blue ocean approach. How could we apply that blue ocean approach in the job market? Let's see that, right? So we are more or less in a similar situation. We are in the red ocean. Red ocean is, there is a lot of job seekers looking for jobs. There are not many jobs, right? They are trying to firefight. They are trying to snatch demand. They are trying to do whatever they could do to get the jobs. So let's see what we could do. So in this slide now, I changed the names. So instead of calling it eliminate, reduce, create, raise, we are talking about now the talent profile, your talent profile. And in talent profile, we are using different terms: diminish, keep, build, and improve. What you need to diminish in your talent profile, remember, we are talking of your profile, your brand. Accounting, auditing, reporting are going to be things of past. They're not completely gone, but they have declining demand. You could have some knowledge of it, but then it doesn't need to be further developed. That's on the diminishing side. You can keep your experience, degrees, certifications, which means that they are really not very inspiring, but they are relevant. You can keep in your profile. What you really need to focus on: two things: improve and build. What is improve? Business acumen, your knowledge of business, your communication skills, your digital literacy, your networking skills. So you have some level of these skills, but these really need to be improved. What you need to build, maybe you don't have any basis yet. Strategy knowledge you need to build. Leadership skills you need to build. Technology awareness. Technology awareness is more than digital literacy. So digital literacy is your ability to handle softwares and hardwares. Technology awareness is really understanding the blockchain, understanding the AI, etc. And you need to build personal brand. What will happen after you make these adjustments in your talent profile? You suddenly become a lot more marketable. You suddenly look a lot more attractive to the employers and recruiters because you are offering something different. Now, you could still be a controller. You could still be a controller with your core competence in accounting, auditing, and reporting, but that's not what you are propagating. That's what not you are selling. You are selling your strategy knowledge. You are selling your leadership skills or technology awareness and your communication skills and digital literacy and business acumen. That really makes a difference. As I said, that you can keep your degree certification, but that's not going to matter. If an employer or recruiter looking at the two candidates, one has the traditional accounting, auditing, reporting knowledge and experience and degrees and certification, and nothing on the right side, but you offer strategy knowledge, leadership, technology awareness, personal brand, business acumen, communication, digital literacy, and networking, you are going to make a difference. You are in the blue ocean because there are not many candidates are going to do it. Even in right now, all the people who are listening to this lecture, they will not do it. I'm telling you, you will not do it. Only 10% of you probably will do it. If that's a good news, because if only 10% people will do it, there would not be many competitors for you. That becomes your opportunity. That's the blue ocean approach you need to apply in your career strategy now. And again, the curriculum I showed you in this slide is really aligned with that approach. I have been designing it not now, I've been designing for 2-3 years now. And I'm now more confident that this approach is more marketable, is the only approach which is marketable. Even if you want to go and try to learn these things, you would not find any program similar to what we are offering here, because this is a combination, well researched, well tested strategy, leadership, technology. These three things combined together will really make you and bring you in the blue ocean of job market. So what you need to do right now, whether you are employed or not employed, because I think the risk factor of job disruption and career disruption is equal for whether you are already in transition or you are well employed, well settled, because what is coming up is very, very concerning. So what you need to do, press the reset button. Reset button. Is start with a personal SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities available and what are the threats? So strength, weaknesses is easy. Opportunities, for example, becoming data scientist is an opportunity for many of the finance professionals. Now, I have been changing my positions for the last couple of years on this based on the market conditions changing. Initially, I was saying that we don't need to become data scientists. Then I said, okay, the people who are starting career, who are early career, probably they could look into that. Now I would say anyone, anywhere in their career, if you think data scientist attracts you, you have the potential to learn it, go for it, because this has much promising career than any finance career. Unless you are a CFO of a Fortune 500 company, it's a different situation. But if you are an average professional in an average role, even in the mid-career, see yourself, because this has much more security and promise than any other role. So that becomes your opportunity. Threats, oil and gas, for example. I mean, the world is changing. This industry is not going to grow. Jobs being lost are not going to be regained. So these are threats. Identify your skill gaps and work out a development plan. So look at these 3 circles I shared with you and see where you are lacking and how you could recover and improve that. Develop your career strategy, develop your personal brand. What I showed you in terms of the blue ocean approach is not really changing your competency portfolio, it's just changing your brand and demonstrate it. And if possible, work together with a peer support group, because all alone, it's a tough journey. Let me tell you honestly, it's a tough journey. All alone, it would be very challenging and very hard. So you need to join a group of professionals in a similar position and work with them. And this is a win-win for everyone. So in all Mecca CFO Academy program, we have the peer groups. Now, Mecca CFO Academy is very unique. You come to do a program and you remain there for the rest of your career and life as a part of the community, because you develop so much relationship and affiliation and support for each other that you want to continue with that. So you will pay for a program for a while, but after the program is ended, you, without any payment, you are connected to several groups. There are, I think, 15-20 WhatsApp groups, different places. So that's an opportunity. So let's talk about, let me give you some tips about hidden job markets, because what is going to happen, that whatever goes on in the market in terms of the layoffs, and as I said, that employers are very keen to bring high caliber talented people, but fewer people, not all those numbers they had before. And in that situation, there are many employers who are also looking to replace people. So while they are going to have few people, they ensure that they only have the highly talented people, which means that people who are considered average or mediocre, they probably would be replaced by more talented people. So if many employers, many companies, businesses do that all the time, but one thing which is requirement for this type of replacement is confidentiality, which means they cannot announce those jobs. They work very uh, secretly, and maybe some recruiters and all, but they always remain part of the hidden job. So it is not expected that even if there are jobs available, they would be advertised or they would be publicly available. So we are going to depend a lot on the hidden job market. If you want to remain in the job market, blue ocean or red ocean, you should focus on hidden job market, not really the red ocean, because there are not many jobs and it would be very difficult to secure a position over there. So how would you do it? So identify 20 to 30 target companies in your desired sector. And again, as I said, that evaluate yourself, whether you want to remain in your industry, you want to change the industry. Everything is possible. Changing industry is possible, but you have to make a mindset about it. And once you make a mindset that identify 20 to 30, maybe 40, it's a lot of work you need to do. Identify those companies. Then LinkedIn. I hope you have a good network on your LinkedIn, because that's a key. That's a key support for you to maintain your or bring your career ahead. So in your search in your first level connections, if there's any employee in those companies, any employees in your first level, if it is first level, you are able to find. So I would suggest you, side advice, that whatever LinkedIn profile you have, you should try to target at least 5,000 first level connections, 5,000 at least. Without 5,000, you would not be able to really utilize the benefit of LinkedIn. So with 5,000, maybe there is some chances that you company you have identified, there are a couple of first level employees. Even if you don't know them, it is acceptable that you send a courtesy request to first level connection. I'm your first level connection, and whatever request you, I'll explain how you approach them. And identify target positions in those companies. Target positions are two levels. One is the decision makers, which could be your future boss or the people who are employed in the category of employers, or at the senior level, directors or vice president or C-level employees. That's one. Now, that's really challenging. If you don't know anyone in those companies, reaching directly to decision makers is very, very challenging, very, very hard, right? Out of the comfort zone of many. So you could use door openers. Door openers are the people who are at your level. If you are a controller, there is a controller or finance manager or accounting manager. These are the door openers. They may not be the hiring managers or decision makers, but they will open the door for you, right? So identify these people into two categories. I would say more probably door openers. Then if you are not able to find anyone in your first level connection in those companies, then try to find a common connector, common connection. So identify door opener. For example, you said that the controller in that company is probably my door, but I don't know. Look in your LinkedIn, maybe you have a third person with a common connection for two of you. Ask that common connection to connect you with that controller, right? That is how it will work. Once connected, request for an informational meeting, or some people call informational interview or call informational meeting. Looking for some information and make a request to that person. So be careful. You are trying to build up your connection and relationship with those strangers. So what is informational meeting? It is an informal meeting, not more than 15-20 minutes over phone, because nobody want to meet in person. So just request them, you need 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and you need some information. You're doing some research about that, mostly about the industry. And most people would accept your request that, yes, I have 15-20 minutes. You could stretch to 30 minutes, depending how good your conversation is going. Once you are accepted, thoroughly research the background of the person you are meeting. This person could be door opener or a decision maker, but you prepare yourself and develop a list of questions to be asked. Be prepared. Make it a conversation, not an interview. Make it a conversation. And your conversation or discussion should be around industry. Because although that company is your target, but if you are going to ask too many questions about the company, they may not be comfortable. So talk in terms of industry. When you talk about industry, of course, you can talk about your company, their company, or any other company, right? That makes them people comfortable. Your objective is to establish the hook for future interaction. So you find a door opener or a decision maker, you connect with them, and now you are hooked with them. So conversation should be ended with an intention to follow up in future. Be careful. Never ask for a job directly. Even if you are meeting or connecting or communicating with the hiring manager, never ever ask a job directly. You could tell them that you are in transition. You could tell them that you're looking for better opportunity, but don't ask them directly that, do you have a job for me? That is the recipe for people to run away from you. Always ask indirectly that, I'm looking a position in that company. Do you know anyone in that company? Make it easier for them to give you a yes. Don't make it hard for people. How to get informational meetings, appointments. So identify the decision maker or door openers in the target company. First identify, doing research. LinkedIn is the best resource. Look for people, identify them. Even if you don't know them, even if you are not connected with them, first level, second level, send an email or in-mail. So if you don't have any connection, you don't know them, you don't have any email for them, you can still use in-mail function from LinkedIn and send a request for the meeting with reference to a common connection. So if you are a stranger, try to find out a common person who knows that person and you, or maybe someone in the industry or someone they will recognize, and mention that I was talking to that person and they mentioned about you, that you are a good resource. When you make a reference to a third party, they become comfortable why you are approaching them, right? And then make a request that, I'm looking for this information. May I request you to give me 15 minutes on phone? Believe me, the hit rate, success rate for such communication is 25%, 20-25. That's a good rate. That's a good rate for accepting your request. Now this is much higher. So let me compare it for you with some other things. So most candidates would be in a pursuit of sending resume to any job posted anywhere, right? Just sending every day hundreds of resumes. The chances of your response of your resume or CV is only less than 2%. Less than 2%. If you keep sending your resume just to the job boards, compare that 2% to this 20-25% response rate, positive. The only thing is that here you are working on a plan. You have a strategy. You are working step by step. And once you have a connection with the door opener, he's a door opener, he or she. Use them to connect with the decision maker. First of all, use them to get the information if there are any positions available. And if available, then use them to connect with other people. Now, there is a trend, the companies, all companies almost, that employee referral are valued very much. Employees referral. If there is a position and there is an employee, internal employee, who refer to an outsider to HR or training or any other hiring department, they will go one step further to entertain that request. So once you are connected to a door opener, you have a lot more chances to be connected to other decision makers or HR or hiring manager in that company. And typically, where are the CFO or senior level jobs? So keep in mind that there are certain type of industry and businesses which are always hiring. Private equity, always hiring, because their business model is acquire businesses and sell businesses. Fast growing companies like Amazon, they are hiring. Good time, bad time, crisis, whatever, they are hiring. Startups, they need people. Competitors, they need good people. Newly acquired or merged companies always looking for better people, replacement positions, remember? They may be firing people, but they would always need some replacement. So Replacement positions is a very good opportunity for all of you. If you could prove that your profile is above average, you are better than most people, employer would be very interested to hire you whether they have a position or not. Because all companies, all businesses are looking for the best of the best talent. And your challenge is to just prove or demonstrate that you are best of the best talent, and you will have multiple opportunities available. To connect with the recruiters, so my assessment is that in these times, there would not be many recruiters busy, especially at the lower level. Only recruiters who would be very busy would be in the top search firms. They are the executive recruiters who are hired by the company to bring senior level positions, especially replacement positions. So if you want to connect with those people, search recruiting firms in your industry geography. So those firms are so by geography, by region, or by industry, and identify relevant partners. In those companies, there would be a partner for finance position, partner for HR positions. Find out who is that partner. Follow them on the LinkedIn and try to connect with them following a dating process. I think I've explained that in some other places, other videos. Your objective with the executive recruiters to get into their first level connections. Why? Because anytime a new role comes up, where do they start? They first look into their own database, which is their first level connections. If you are already there, you have high probability, higher chances that you would be picked as shortlisted candidates. So don't look for jobs, just look and target to be on their first level connection list for search recruiters. If you are safely employed, securely employed right now, your focus should be to strengthen your position, strengthen your ties with your employer so they even don't think of letting you go, right? How could you do that? Try to develop an approach of solving problems on your own. Don't wait for anyone to tell you what you need to do. Look around, and anything you could solve in terms of problem, try to take that initiative. New initiatives, make suggestions from your side. Try to show your value part, how valuable you are for your employer. How much value do you create, and how much employer would lose if they lose you. Active participation in important meetings, that's your personal brand. Try to conduct training information sessions. Join volunteer cross-functional team. So there are many times there are cross-functional teams or projects going on, and look around, keep high level of intelligence, and offer yourself. Don't wait for anyone to really ask you to come on the team. Offer yourself and coach other people, mentor other people, and try to seek some mentors for yourself. That is how you would secure your position, make yourself more valuable with your current employer. So here is your career strategy going forward. And it's not very specific, it's a broad framework I'm going to teach you. So you have a core expertise. It could be your controllership, it could be your treasury expertise, or it could be your anything else, M&A, merger and acquisition, etc. That's your core equities. That's not enough. This is important, but it's not enough. This is your knowledge. You need skills to execute that knowledge, and execution comes, if you look at the left side, your soft skills, your leadership, your communication, your emotional intelligence, your branding. All those things are important to help you execute your knowledge. On the right hand side, you also need a good perceived value. All the people who really matter, they must have a very positive image of you. That's your personal brand. So your external image and your ability to execute really help you to do your job. That would create or lead you to many career opportunities. So in a nutshell, what you need to do, look at your core expertise, what you need to learn. Maybe you need to learn some technology part, right? Emerging technologies. Enhance that, enhance your core knowledge. Soft skills, maybe you need to improve your communication. Maybe you need to learn emotional intelligence. Maybe you need to learn other negotiation and influence and persuasion skills. And personal brand, maybe you need to ensure that your personal brand is what you think is, not that you think you are really very capable, but other people also believe that you are capable. So you could take this framework and you can expand based on your details. Your career going forward, this is my final advice, is broad. Always keep big perspective of life vision. It's not about job or career only. It's about your life. Your life, your job and career is part of your life. And life is not going to end with your retirement. What are you going to do after 60? That should be part of your plan. Learning is a lifelong process. Don't go for 2 day, 3 day training. Make it integral part of your day-to-day life. Every day you must learn something. So for example, in Micah's Youth Academy, we do 2 hour session on online. It's not, we don't do days long trainings like 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, but that's not practical. We do online, and the best format for online is to, rather than having a 5 day training in a row, it should be 5 weeks training. So you do every week a couple of hours training, and that is makes the learning the best, well established, and most productive. Keep increasing your intrinsic value. What is your real value, intrinsic value? Are you gold coin? My analogy is gold coin has intrinsic value. Currency notes has a stamp of central bank. If that stamp is removed, that's a piece of paper. Gold coin is stamp or no stamp, it has intrinsic value. What is your intrinsic value? What is your ability? What is your knowledge? How could you help other businesses? Your personal brand is your competitive advantage, really. If there is no personal brand, you could think that you are very competitive, you have a high reputation. No. It's the perception of other people. Most of the people are able to progress their career because other people around them have a better perception of them. You would not get a very important promotion unless the CEO and the decision makers have a very strong perception about you. And on the economic side, no matter what job you have, don't rely on single source of income. Don't rely. So if maybe you already have some savings, investment. If not, then start doing something. If you don't have money to save, then start doing something part-time. Do some coaching, do some tuition. Establish your dream job on the side hustle. So businesses do not stand up overnight. It is not possible that one day you retire and second day you're running a business. If you want to run a business, do it now. I started my coaching company in 2008, and I continued to do work job until 2014. Only 2014, I left my job and took it full time. For 4, 5, 6 years, I was running parallel. That is how you start a business. And last thing, very important, become a problem solver. Without any compensation, without any specific return, just try to demonstrate your ability of solving problems for anyone you come across. I think that's what I have. Yes. So folks, that's what I have. I want to remind you of the strategic CFO program. I think we have talked about also in the previous sessions. I couldn't honestly find any other similar program. So I know that we are in the blue ocean market. We have Micah's Youth Academy has been developed as a blue ocean strategy. There is no comparable programs available anywhere. And I could tell you now, it's my shameless promotion of this program, that this is the best of the best program available anywhere based on today's need. So strategy, skills, leadership, technologies, the combination we have developed, and this is a year-long program, 12 months. Talk to the people, 300 people have already done it. Talk to them. It's not only have changed their jobs or careers, it has changed their lives. That's what you need. So I'm not going to say any further than that. Just look at this program. It's available. We are starting the 10th batch from 9th of January. And we also have the discounts available. If you are serious, just drop me an email and I'll tell you how to avail those discounts. So let me go to the question and answer box now. Why is journal management also declining? I think general management, I'm not sure, but there is a trend of reducing layers. So it's flatter organizations. Flatter means that if there were 5, 6, 7 layers of management, they don't need it anymore. So within the management category, they are also reducing the roles and layers. I think that is what is reflected to. It could also relate it to certain industries, because if you look at the declining roles and increasing demand, there are some similar titles Those similar titles in the declining and increasing roles are based on the industry. Certain industry, a certain role is increasing because the industry is growing. In some other industries, it's declining because industry is declining. What technological skill FP&A now needs to process, considering demands for role is decreasing as per the report you showed. I think for the FP&A, and again, it's controversial. Some people believe that FP&A going to grow. Some people think it's going to decline. I'm a little cautious. I would say that I would believe more on the decline side. But what a professional need to do is to develop the data skills, data management, because you have been already dealing with data, but that was a manual data. Now you need to deal with big amounts of data. So in data science, you don't need to become a data scientist, but try to learn the data literacy as much as possible. How to handle data, what are the softwares available for data management, data cleansing, and how to create models with those huge amount of data. I think that is what will help you survive in future. What will happen to conventional accounting education imported by institute like ACCA, CIMA, etc., and these roles are diminishing? Do we now really need to pursue such education now? It's a big question mark, and again, it's controversial because all these accounting bodies would never accept that accounting is going to end. And I also feel that it's a little premature to say that there is no future of accounting, but it would substantially change. All the mechanical part, routine part would be automated somehow. And my criteria is simple. So whatever you do, because it's a very wide field, you see machines and computers and reports help us with three things: accuracy, speed, and memory. Accuracy, speed, and memory. We cannot beat machines or computers with these three capabilities. If any job which will require and involve these three things like speed, accuracy, memory, they would not exist for human people. They would be done by machines. So in accounting, so far, most of the processes are really routinized. So they would be automated. But there are still area like taxes is one area which has required a lot of complexity, merger and acquisitions, some IFRS issues. So I think it will take time gradually, but trend is very clear. The direction is very clear that accounting we probably won't need after 10 years or maybe 20 years. And what will happen with these institutes, I really don't know. They are trying to change the curriculum, but look, they are not designed for this yet. So a lot going to change. Short summary for requirement for a data scientist. There is a lot of stuff available on internet. I would suggest Google it, and you will get a lot of much better information than I can tell you. FP and FBP would be working more closely with data scientists. Yes, they would be working together. So again, depends. Maybe in a smaller organization, the role of FBP and data scientist is combined. Maybe FP&A is combined with FBP. Maybe FP&A combined with data scientist. A lot of speculation can be made, but definitely the trend is that data is going to be a very important function. Now, data function is not defined in many organizations, whether it will be part of finance or marketing or any other function. It's emerging, it's evolving. So we need to see that how data really evolves. But one thing is clear: 5 years, 10 years from now, data management would be the most important function in any organization. As you mentioned, LinkedIn is worth it to avail their monthly premium subscription. It depends upon your goals. If you think that you would be depending on a lot of networking, it is worth, I think. The subscription monthly is around $40-50. So it's worth it because it will give you a deeper reach to reach more people. So you need to check how are you going to use that based on your goals. Is data science easy for finance professionals to learn? It depends upon your desire and thrust. If you are really hungry, everything would be easy. If you are lazy, everything would look like a mountain. So it depends upon your goal. Look at your options, as I said, and evaluate your options, evaluate your skill set, and make some goals. And those goals really should be very compelling and desirable, and you should be hungry for it. If you are hungry, nothing is impossible, nothing is difficult. All of you are professional, professionally qualified with a lot of hard work you have done, whether you are a CPA or CMA or CA, you have done a lot of work. You spend very precious 4 or 5 years of your life to qualify for those exams, right? Today you are in your early career or mid career. The change which is happening, the economic change or the landscape changing for the jobs and roles is much bigger than what the decision you made at the time of your career selection. It requires more effort than your chartered accountancy when you did it or your CPA from a career point of view. Now, it surprises me that people are not really making much moves or actions to really change their skill set. Although it is more important than when you decided to do your CPA or CMA. It's more important today to really upgrade, upskill yourself. Not many people are doing it. I'm just trying to emphasize that folks, wake up before it is too late. You need to make some serious efforts now to upskill yourself. The good news is that not everybody would do it. Good news, 90% people sitting in this session would not do anything. That's your opportunity for the 10%, because with 10% only, you would find yourself in the blue ocean, not red ocean. In banking, I can see risk and compliance roles demand has been increasing, compliance and risk, okay? But then preference would be for experienced people. I'm a relationship manager, business development professional. However, business development in banking seems to be reducing, and hence am looking at compliance roles as have already taken certification in compliance. Your views, please. Is there any other certification compliance that I need to look? So look, my view is that compliance risks are very important, but don't underestimate the capability of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence with machine learning and deep learning already creeping into the areas which were only considered the human intelligence. So risk and compliance are important, but you would see there are many solutions coming from the technology side. And once those solutions are there, there will be less requirement and need for the experienced people in risk and compliance. That's my personal view is, of course, you would always need some very talented people to even create the solutions or create the softwares or the tools, but that would be very few people, not a lot of people. Similarly, let me share my view about the IFRS. The IFRS expertise is very important nowadays. But look, imagine a scenario or situation when all IFRS are somehow incorporated into a software, incorporated with high level of sophistication, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and then there is a tool available which will evaluate every possible situation. Now, those people who are creating those softwares, of course, they need a lot of high level of knowledge and expertise, but not everybody needs that. When I was in elementary school, we used to memorize tables because there were no calculators. Nowadays, nobody teaches or asks young kids to memorize tables because there are calculators. Is it important to understand how the table works? Of course, there for few people who are creating calculator, it is very important for them, but not everybody has to learn how the table works, right? So that's going to happen in the technology side. There is one more question. From oil and gas to banking, in this example, the employees are asking experience in the same industry. This is the major challenge every job seeking is facing, how we can over. So I took a very extreme situation, like two very extreme level of industries apart from them, just to show the difference. Now, what is going to happen? There are so many things changing. So many things are changing that what we have been doing 5 years, 10 years ago becoming irrelevant. Like the way we work in the business, the way we work, the way the businesses are working, the way the technology is coming is becoming irrelevant of the thing we have done in the past. When the computers came, people used to work on the mainframe. If someone comes with a mainframe experience, it's irrelevant. Even today, with the rapid adoption of technology, employers are more interested in your recent experience than the past experience. If you could demonstrate that the data science tool or data science processes you have learned in oil and gas you could apply in banking, they would be welcoming you. Because other thing is that it would be very difficult and challenging to find professional with the same caliber and training and expertise in the same industry. So employer would be flexible to find people from other industries as long as they meet the current requirement from a technological and leadership point of view. Let me give you an example. Jack Welch, the famous CEO of GE, who worked there for 25 years as a CEO, he was a celebrity CEO. When he was retiring, there was a bunch of people line up to take his role in GE. Bob Nardelli was one of them. Bob Nardelli was a senior level executive, was not given a chance to succeed Jack Welch. So as soon as the decision was made, he left GE and he was quickly hired by Home Depot. Now think of these two industries: GE, machines, engineering, powers, engine, etc. Home Depot, retail. Why Home Depot hired Bob Nardelli from GE at that time? Because of his leadership experience, because of his business maturity, right? Not because of his engineering experience. It was a very different model, but they hired him on a very high level of salary because of his leadership. So this is what I try to explain, that leadership, technology orientation, your profile, your strategic approach, knowledge matters a lot for the business people at the senior level. So if you could demonstrate that you could deliver from a business value point of view, they would not mind you are coming from a different industry.